All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Do All the Things, the GDQ Hotfix show where we show off farms and experience, as well as run, renew more of a game in general, or to really just, get more stuff. Should be a very fun episode today, because today we have Game of the Year, Baldur's Gate 3 leading us off, which is really awesome. I'm excited about that personally. But also after this, we got Link to the Past 100%, another classic. Game of probably that year, 1991, I want to say, but I could be wrong about that one. Who knows? By the way, it should be a very fun one. I'm excited to get this one started. So, hello, May. How's it going?
Hello. Glad to be here.
Heck yeah! Tell me what we're gonna be seeing today.
We are going to be playing Baldur's Gate 3 All Acts. So this is a much longer run compared to the 80% run, where we go through all 3 acts of Baldur's Gate 3, whereas the 80% run stops at the first 2.
That sounds very fun to me, honestly. And like you introduce commentators as well too.
Sure. How about you guys on the couch get going?
Yeah. Hello, I'm Chronos, and I also speedrun this game.
And I'm Gyoo, so I'm also a runner for this game.
Heck yeah! So in that case, whenever you're ready, let's get counted down and we'll start it up.
All right. So first things first, we have character creation before we get into the actual proper run. So a few things we're going to go over first is firstly the race. We're going to be playing as a deep gnome for this one. That's for a few reasons. First of all is that we have to be small for a few glitches we're going to be doing later on, as well as deep gnomes get an advantage on stealth checks, which is going to come into play later for a few checks we're going to be doing. For a class, we're going to be playing as a wizard, and that's for a few reasons, mostly just because of the spells. Cantrips are already set here. As you can see, the only real important thing here is the minor illusion we're going to be taking. And for spells, we're going to be going with Enhanced Sleep, Featherfall, Magic Missile, Chromatic Orb, Fog Cloud, and Witch Bolt. I'll explain all of these as they come up in the actual run, but for now, the only thing you really need to pay attention to is the Enhanced Sleep, which is going to be our main method of transportation throughout this run, because it triples our jumping distance, which when we combine it with a high strength stat, which we'll be setting in a moment, we end up with these pretty silly, incredible Hulk-style jumps, which end up being much, much faster compared to walking. Background's going to be Urchin, just for those stealth checks again. For stats, we're going to max out our strength for those really big leaps. We're going to max out our dexterity for stealth checks and for our initiative. Everything else is going to go into our intelligence since we are a wizard after all. We're going to start with Enhanced Sleep, Magic Missile, and Chromatic Orb. And that is our character creation done. One other thing we'd like to do in speedruns, this is critical for your speed, is we like to set the optimal character appearance, which looks something along the lines of this. If you don't do this, you actually lose a few frames over the course of the run. So really, really important that you get, just the optimal vibe down. Same thing goes for the Dream Guardian here, which you'll see we've customized to be as aerodynamic as possible, really.
That sounds correct to me.
And with all that out of the way, we are all set to go. So time will start in 3, 2, 1, and go. So right out of the gate, we're going to start off on the tutorial nautiloid here, where pretty much our character has been kidnapped aboard this alien ship by a whole bunch of monsters called Mind Flayers. This is where you first meet your companions. You go through a whole bunch of tutorials relating to combat, and we're just going to blast through it by clipping through a wall pretty much immediately, by dashing a few times, and then jumping on this specific pixel. So now that we're through here, we're going to dash one more time, just to make sure that we can stack as much movement as possible, and then we can run across the room. We're going to jump one more time, and as soon as we skip this cutscene and interact with this transponder, that ends the tutorial level, and we get to start Act 1 proper. So,
yeah, that was the entire tutorial section.
That's the whole tutorial done. So, oh boy.
I learned so much.
So how do you want to do this? Because this next part is quite a doozy to explain. So who wants to take this on?
As you wait.
Yeah, I'll start and maybe we can switch one to another. So first thing that May is going to do is actually setting up a position with this scroll. So she's trying to drop the scroll at a very specific position, very far away, and it's actually going to keep that position in memory for later use. So this way later we can kind of teleport, and you'll see how it's done. Next thing we're gonna do is meet with Shadowheart, and we're gonna recruit her. So basically skip her dialogue, and at the end she's in our group. And now we're doing some HP manipulation, so she has 0 HP, and we can also take all her stuff and grab her in our inventory. Now we're back in camp, and we're gonna pick up a bottle of water real quick. And now it's the second part. Chronos, maybe you can explain this.
Yep. So right here, she casts Chromatic Orb on the ground and places the box on the floor. So we want to deal damage to the box so that it gets destroyed. To put Shadowheart all the way to where she set the node up way earlier. So now Shadowheart is just going to magically appear all the way at Mountain Pass. So that skips all of this entire beginning section in Act 1, which is pretty insane.
Right, and we call that shadow boxing. It is probably one of the most insane tricks I've ever seen in the speedrun. Probably my favorite in the whole run, next to brain cat jumping, which we'll talk about later. This is also a thing that's happening right now, where we are doing two things. First of all, we're setting up for a infinite status duration glitch on our main character by punching them to death. And second of all, by picking them up, we skip the cutscene that happens normally at the end of Act 1. So we're going to raise our character here, and then we're going to switch around a few spell slots. We're going to need Featherfall and Fog Cloud are our two new ones that we're going to be taking, which you'll see shortly. So this is sort of the intermission period between Act 1 and Act 2. And up here is a group of enemies, and we are going to deal with them pretty simply. We're just going to cast a Fog Cloud. There is fog here, it's just visually bugged, so you can't see it. But by jumping in the Fog Cloud, we are out of the enemy's line of sight. So by jumping through there, they cannot see us, and we can just skip the entire encounter and go straight to Act 3 or Act 2. So,
and that's it for Act 1.
that's Act 1 completely done. So Act 2, probably my favorite act in the game. This is where you start to deal with pretty much the main antagonist of the game, which is the Cult of the Absolute. And the big bad Act 2 is Ketheric Thorne. He is this absolutely crazy necromancer guy. He is super strong, literally invulnerable to all damage. But we're going to find some pretty unique ways to deal with him shortly. So the first thing we need is this whole area is cursed with a shadow curse that will deal damage to us if we try to go through the area without a light. So we're going to steal a light real quick from these guys. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to ask them very nicely with a spell. And as long as you ask them really nicely, they kind of just don't mind. And so they'll just drop it for us. They'll just drop it for us, and we get this thing. We're going to release the pixie from it. And the Pixies gives us a blessing that lets us go through here without any issue. You'll also notice that my main character has infinite statuses and is pretty much just going to have Enhanced Sleep and Featherfall up for the entirety of Act 2 because of the status which we set up earlier. We're also going to dismiss Shadowheart there. And the reason for that is we're going to do a whole bunch of walking now, if you can call it that. Not really walking, but we have a long distance to go here because we are going to go to the Sharan Temple, the Gauntlet of Shar. The reason we're going to the Gauntlet of Shar is because Ketheric is immortal, and the reason he's immortal is because he has a demigod locked up in his basement in the Gauntlet of Shar. So there are a few ways that you can resolve this in the main game. One way is to free the demigod, which is, the morally just path, or you can just kill her, and, the path of least resistance sort of works out for us in this case as speedrunners, because Shadowheart has a unique interaction where if we give her a spear for that cutscene, she just kills her on the spot, which works out really well for us. So right here, we're going to grab that waypoint. We'll come back there later for a few glitches, as well as that's just the exit point for Act 2. So once we're done all of these shenanigans, we'll come back there later. Other than that, pretty much just walking here. It's nothing too crazy. The next thing coming up here is going to be a really, really minor skip with ya boy Raphael, everyone's favorite Disney villain. So it turns out that he's got this huge vision cone here, and if you jump in it, you get trapped in a cutscene. But if you press the C button first and then jump past him at Mach 12, he kind of just doesn't mind. And so we can get past him without any issue. So now that we're here, Gauntlet of Shar, This is a mausoleum first. The Gauntlet of Shar has passed through here. We got to do this really hard puzzle here. And the way we do that is to just press these buttons in order. Right, then left, then left. And then this back one here. And I'm going to walk through here a little bit, because otherwise I'll bump my head there. And we go through here, and now we are in the temple proper. So Gauntlet of Shar, what is this about? This is all about where Shar's initiates, Shar being pretty much the goddess of shadow and darkness and all those things edgy, would pretty much come to prove themselves as her dark justiciars. And fortunately for us, our companion, Shadowheart, is a cleric of Shar. And this being a standard Sharan temple, she happens to know a few shortcuts through here. So we're going to recruit her back into our party. And we're going to buff her up again with Featherfall and Enhanced Sleep. And we're going to put her in this corner, and she's going to show us this really cool shortcut she knows, where she falls through the floor a few times. We switch our camera around to her, and now we're at the end of the entire temple. We can just walk right through here without any issue. So now we can just go through the end of the temple, right? Well, not quite, because we still need to get a spear, because it turns out that the immortal demigod is indeed immortal, and the only way we can deal with that is by using a certain spear on her, which we will find deeper in there. I'm also using Minor Illusion to attract all those guys around that little cat that I summoned, and by doing that, we can just skip that whole encounter. So up here again, I'm going to quick save just in case this goes sour, because this is going to go a little spicy depending on our dice rolls. A bunch more enemies in here, so we're going to cast Fog Cloud here. We're going to use the same trick we did earlier. Hide and hope we pass the stealth rolls. Cool, and by jumping onto that stair and mashing our jump key through there, we can clip through the wall and get past this whole puzzle area. We're now going to use a barrel on this wall, because past here is where we will find the spear. So by dropping a barrel right here, and going on this corner, we can kind of just mash our jump through the wall, and we are through. So here's this super fancy spear that we're going to use to kill a literal demigod. And now that we've got this, we can go join up with Shadowheart at the end of the temple. And now I'm going to need some help explaining this, because this is quite the sequence of events that's going to happen here.
This must be the last pull, right?
Yep. So right here, May's going to be using the cutscenes and basically going into multiple cutscenes at the same time. So by doing that, it locks your character into a certain position. So while Shadowheart's entering the Shadowfell, your tab, in this case, is going to the prison where Ketheric will be. So by overlapping the two, they both are able to get separated when normally all your characters are forced into one area. And right there, now they're both in their respective areas.
So
basically what happens is that, sorry about that, since you're in the cutscene with Tav, he actually gets teleported to Shadowfell, but since you're in the cutscene, you teleport back to the prison right after. Just a small precision.
Yep, so the whole point of that is basically so that we can multitask. We're sending Shadowheart further into the Shadowfell at the same time that our main character is going to go join up with Ketheric. So up here is going to be a trick called brain cat jumping, and where you're going to be wanting to look is on the right side of the screen. There are what we call brain cats over here, and if we try to jump onto the same square that they are pathing, we will go through the wall. If it cooperates with me... Oh, we've got to wait for him to come back now.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so sometimes it doesn't work.
So sometimes it doesn't work for some reason, but if you basically just mash your jump onto where they're trying to path, so it will just clip you through the wall. If you're asking how that works, it just does.
It's weird.
We don't know.
It's pathing bugs.
We don't know.
Probably a kind of safety feature from the game.
So now we're going to go through here. We are going to, and down there is the arena where we're going to fight Ketheric. We're going to restore our spell slots here first and go down here, and we're going to take some level ups while we are riding down the elevator. For our main character, we're just going to take Conjuration Wizard. Our spells don't matter. The only thing that matters there is that we have prepared Witch Bolt, and Shadowheart is going to respec from a cleric to a wizard. The only thing she needs is Fog Cloud, and that's pretty much the only level up we're going to be doing on her for the rest of the game. So our main character is going to go up here and interact with this door. They're going to prep the cutscene on this door. And with Shadowheart, we are going to switch to her. We're going to jump our way down, and this is where the demigod is. I'm going to quick save here just in case. And we're going to hide, because same thing. As long as you press C, they don't really care that we're skulking around back here. And we're going to cast a fog cloud. And Baldur is this guy who's super evil, and he's like, ooh, yuck, fog. So if we talk to the demigod, we're going to skip that scene 6 times.
There it is.
And now the demigod is dead off screen. So now that the demigod is dead, Ketheric is vulnerable to damage, and we can finally actually go and kill him. And you might be wondering how we are a level 2 character, and Ketheric is a level 11 necromancer, this super buff, super jacked guy. How are we ever going to kill him? And the answer is by doing these shenanigans. Oh, I could change the difficulty here, I just realized. Okay, so we're going to change the difficulty there just to make sure he has lower HP. And now we've attacked Ketheric with a Witch Bolt, and he has it attached to him. And we can kind of just zap him infinitely, since if you see the vision cones here, which is the red on the ground, these are what would trigger him to go hostile. We are not standing in any vision cones at all from this position, which means we can kind of just zap him infinitely until he dies. And because we have that infinite status duration up from earlier, we also have infinite Witch Bolt, which means we do not have to recast this at any point ever. We can just keep spam activating it, and he will just take damage over and over again until he eventually dies. This is also where that water from earlier is going to come into play once we hit phase 2 here, which is the Avatar of Merkel. Ketheric gets super mad, his god gets super mad. They're like, oh, you're killing my chosen, how dare you? And so he turns into this super giant skeleton, but fortunately he has the same Witch Bolt attached, so we're just going to throw a water bottle at him. And what this does is this applies the wet status effect, which means that they take twice as much damage from lightning. And we can just do the exact same bread and butter trick over and over again, and this will take him out very, very slowly. But we just spam it over and over, and eventually he will go down.
One thing we can add is that you've seen May like switching her actions for a very long time during this fight, and even before and after. This is called animation skip. It just reduces the cooldown between attacks that you can do, pretty much.
Yeah, so it's an animation cancel that lets us do things a little faster. And there's our beautiful Dream Guardian, as you can see. We actually got quite the time save there with that appearance. So now we are all pretty much done Act 2. We're going to do a few things here before we leave, just as housekeeping. We're going to go talk to our boy Wilburn Bongle, incredible gnome names. And he's going to give us a whole bunch of gold for no reason. And we're going to use that for a respec coming up in just a bit. So we're going to go through here and pretty much just leave Act 2. We've got one cutscene to skip here. And once we leave here, we can travel with our main character to the road to Baldur's Gate. I have to switch to Shadowheart just to get her out of the Shadowfell real quick, because otherwise she's in a danger zone right now, and so we can't leave the act while she is there. Switch back to our main character who is on the road to Baldur's Gate, and as we go past through here, we can interact with this area transition, and we are all done too.
Ketheric is...
So, Act 3. This is
Not
probably
quite Act 3 yet.
well, okay, interlude. This is what we call this the Gith intermission, because this is where we get attacked by a whole bunch of Gith at our camp. So the first thing we're going to need to do here, very important, is we are going to send Shadowheart to her doom immediately. Shadowheart really just gets the short end of the stick over and over again in this run. It's really unfortunate, and so off she goes. The reason we're doing that is because we need to set up for Skip will be doing in about a minute here, and also Jaheira is here now. This is because of the way that we resolve the Last Light cutscene. The game doesn't really know how to handle all of the shenanigans we do between the Shadowfell and with our Shadowfell and our sequence breaking. And so Jaheira just shows up here because it assumes that we resolve Last Light peacefully and everything's good. So now we're going to respec Jaheira into an Eldritch Knight. If any of you can talk about what I'm taking here.
Yep, so we're respecting Jaheira as a fighter. This is for very specific stats that we will be using, primarily strength and a few cantrips that are pretty useful, along with a lot of spells. So one of them is Mage Hand, which I believe you're going to be doing the Mage Hand skip here.
Yep.
So we'll be using that along with a bunch of other spells, including Enhanced Sleep and Featherfall, the same movement spells. And then we're also going to be taking Invisibility as well.
Yeah. As well for the feats, we're going to take especially Alert feat, because it's going to help us to start the fights with Jaheira, which is necessary for the upcoming fight. And also everything necessary to get up to 20 strengths, because it's just longer jumps, and also it will be helpful to throw people later on.
Alright, so this is called... Did we get a name for this? I don't even remember. This is the gift skip.
Yep.
So what we're going to do here is we're going to summon a mage hand. We're going to take a... Where's my action surge? Oh, I already did it. Okay. We're going to dash, so we can get up here. We're going to walk through this portal, and we are going to absolutely mash our mage hand and their dead Shadowheart. What this lets us do... Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay, so good thing I made a quick save. So...
Wow. Honestly, that's the first time I see it failed.
That's the first... Yeah, GDQ luck. Pretty classic.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to be expected. So if this works as we expect, we are going to go up here. We're going to mash through here. Okay, so that's what's supposed to happen. So now we are going to kill our main character, who is currently in a cutscene. And by launching them off of this cliff, Jaheira is now able to break out of the cutscene, and we can pretty much skip this entire fight. We're going to cast Invisibility so that we can deal with the people on the other side of this portal. And while our camp is under attack, we are going to go sleep at the camp. I sleep. Yeah. Everything's fine. So now we wake up, and we're still under attack at the camp. But fortunately, we can just press our fancy leave camp button here, and we just leave. Not our problem. So this is actually proper.
It's going to be a problem for later, but you have solutions for that.
We'll deal with it as it comes on. I like to leave problems for future me. So now we are in Act 3 proper, and this is probably my favorite section of the game for a speedrun, just because of all the really, really bizarre things we're going to end up doing here. So, in terms of story, we've dealt with Ketheric, and we stole his fancy orb that he uses to control a really big monster called an Elder Brain, which they're basically using for mind control. So our goal at this point is to collect the other two fancy orbs that we were using for mind control from the leaders of that cult. And the way we're going to do that is primarily through violence. But if you thought Ketheric was strong, these guys are even stronger. Ketheric was level 11, whereas I believe these guys are both level 12. So pretty much in combat, even though we have our now level 8 Jaheira, we would get smoked. We have pretty much no chance. But fortunately, we're going to have ways to deal with that in our own way. So Jaheira is now going to go up to Gortash. Gortash is going to be the first guy we're going to steal the stone from. And we're going to do that by sneaking through his entire fort invisible and pretty much just breaking in on his coronation ceremony. And they're like, hey, well, wait a minute, who are you? We're going to say, no, don't worry, I'm peaceful. He's going to say, listen, you killed Ketheric, you're really strong, I don't want to deal with you, make a truce with me. And we're going to say, yeah, sure, sounds good. So that we don't have to deal with a massive fight. Now this is called NPC kidnapping. As you can see, Gortash is now at our feet, pretty much screaming like a baby, and we can now take him wherever we want. Oh, I accidentally broke it. That's fine. So we can now take him wherever we want without any issue. No one will become hostile. So what we're going to do is take him to a safe place out back called the Worms Rock Bridge. And we're going to go sightseeing real quick at the edge of this bridge. We're going to drop him off as we break our kidnap, and we're going to deliver him to the bottom of the bridge.
Yeet.
And we do a large yeet. We do a large yeet, and that's him dealt with. So we take his orb, and we are all done with Gortash. So now we have to deal with the final member of the cult, who is Orin. Orin is this shape-shifting changeling who pretty much spends the whole game, as soon as you meet her, taunting you. She transforms into your companions, she transforms into children, all in an attempt to basically play mind games on you. And we will have a way of dealing with that in a very particular way that I'll show off shortly. But first, before we do that, we have to go on a shopping spree. Classic for a lot of RPG speedruns. Ours just happens to be pretty late in the run because we don't really need any items for the most part, because all the funky stuff we do with spells and whatnot. So with our main character, we are now going to go on a grand journey across Baldur's Gate. And our destination here is going to be the fireworks shop. The reason we're going to the fireworks shop is that they sell a whole bunch of sparklers that deal a lot of force damage when they blow up. And there is one particular enemy later on in the game that has a whole bunch of health that we can't really deal with any other means. We can't throw them off a cliff. We can't just zap them infinitely, so we have to actually deal damage. And fortunately, this lets us stack a whole bunch of damage at once. So we're going to go through here. And we are going to talk with the trader. We're going to give him a fancy chest plate. We're going to buy all his fireworks. And those are enough for us to beat the final boss in pretty much a single turn. So with our fireworks in tow, we are now going to go to the sewers as our next destination, since that's where Orin is. Orin hides in a place called the Temple of Baal, which is this place for a murder cult, pretty much. And they're underneath the sewers. They have this super secret entrance that pretty much anyone can find. Not really secret, actually. But anyway, point being, that's where she is, and so we are going to go haul it there as fast as possible in order to deal with her. I also like to imagine pretty much just how all the NPCs around here feel with this terrible Afro man jumping through here. Just an absolute beauty of a man. So now we're in the sewers. We're going to jump through here. You might think that this is a fight the first time you came through in your own playthroughs, but you can actually just kind of go through here without issue. And now is one of my favorite tricks in the whole run, because of how silly this is. We're going to quick save here, just because this can go a little sideways. Alright. So what we're doing right now is we are inspecting a box at the same time that someone is trying to talk to us in the sewers. And that someone is totally not Orin, disguised as a child. So this is an NPC named Deanna, who actually is Orin. And so Orin is regularly a shape changer boss with several hundred health. She's super tough, but fortunately, we have a way to trap her in the body of that child there. And you'll notice that this child has 5 health. And so that's going to be really useful for us in a moment here when we're going to have to fight her. So we cast invisibility on ourselves as we go through here, just because this is a fight normally. You get ambushed by a bunch of those guys from the murder cult. But if we go through here with invisibility, they won't see us, and so we can just jump through here without issue. Going through here, this is a metal door, and this is going to lead us into the entrance of the temple. This is a huge door. Normally, you have to do a whole bunch of stuff for... I don't know how it works in most playthroughs, honestly. I've only really played a Dark Urge playthrough. In a Dark Urge playthrough, you get invited here by Orin, so the door is unlocked automatically, but normally the door is locked. Fortunately for us, we have Misty Step, and so we can kind of just go through here without problems. Fun fact about this is that this is actually a one-way trip, so if you ever get your character stuck in here by doing what I just did, you cannot actually get out, ever. So don't do that in your own playthroughs. So now we have, this is going to be an intense Orin fight. Normally you can't damage children in this game. Up here is Orin, as a child. You normally can't damage children. But if you turn on non-lethal attacks first, then you can. So we're going to damage her enough to kill her. And that's Orin dealt with.
Oh, no, you stun her.
Oh, sorry, so we stun Orin. Of course. Of course. that's Orin dealt with. We now have her stones, and with Jaheira, we're going to go back to that Temple of Ball waypoint that we got earlier, and we are ready to proceed to the end of the game. We have all 3 stones. So up here is where we're going to go into the, I forget what it's called, the brine pools, I think?
Morphic pools, yeah.
Morphic pools.
Or, yeah.
Up here. And so this is going to begin pretty much the final sequence of the game, where we go to fight the brain. We're going to enter turn-based mode there, just because if we're a little slow, we can sometimes enter combat. Enter this skiff, match through the cutscene, and we are now in the final area of the game. So, this area, what's there to say about it? We start off, unfortunately, Shadowheart's about to get the short end of the stick once again, because we are going to kill her for yet another shadow box, similar to what we did at the start of this run. We bring her up here. We're going to switch to balanced. So we kill her, we're going to pick up her body, and we're going to put Jaheira in the corner so we can do a decent skip up here, which is on the right side of our screen. If I can find it.
Yeah, this
Chronos,
jump
where
is
is it?
pretty tricky.
Yeah, this
I think it's a
pain.
bit down there.
I think it's my compass that's off a little bit. Oh, I need to recast this too.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Textures are also different than what I'm used to, so it's kind of weird.
It's the compass, I think, is what's giving me
You
issues.
actually don't need to spam interact to get the right spot.
I'm trying to find it. This is so sad. Where is it?
Yeah, this is one of the weird jumps in this game.
Yeah, this is one of the weird ones. I swear. Where's the compass spot? Where is it? I swear this works. I promise. It's just it's the GDQ curse. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there we
Yeah,
go.
we guarantee you
there
it
we are.
works.
Hey.
Okay, so we got there eventually. Anyway, point being, so we go through all that. We're going to sneak, and now this brings us to pretty much the end of this section of the Morphic Pools. The whole point of this section is that we can go fight the final brain, or the Elder Brain. So in a normal playthrough, you go up here to fight the brain. Why can't I not?
Oh, you got the
There we
jump
go.
bug. You need to reload your game, so quick save,
do
quick
I?
load. Yeah, quick save and then quick load.
I have
Fix it.
never seen that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've had that like 2 days ago or something.
yeah.
That is
So
the
if your
first time I've
jump
ever
gets
gotten
if your jump gets interrupted when you jump and then you get stunned or you do an animation cancel, you will bug out your game and you can't cast any spells, can't do any actions, and the only way to get out of it is to quick save and quick load your game,
I got it
or you can travel. Yeah, you got it
I
again.
got it again. Wow.
Yeah, that's what happens.
That's
That's why. Yeah, so it happens if you're mashing jump in this section because of the stuns that the brain is doing. So to get around it, I normally just wait until you pass or fail the check. So
Okay, so
just safety things.
that out of the way. Now we're going to use the shadowboxing trick we talked about at the start of the run. And the reason we're doing this is that Shadowheart's dead body can trigger a cutscene up here. And so by her triggering this cutscene for us, we don't have to watch it. So we're going to break the box. We're going to see a whole bunch of words show up around this crate. Transform, and that means that we are good to proceed. We've matched through this, and we are now in this spot. You'll recognize this from earlier in the run, where we skipped through the area by killing our own companions. And so because we did that, a whole bunch of hostile people are still up here. And so that's why we need invisibility, because if we don't do that, I need to level up. I'm gonna not have alert if I don't. So if we don't have invisibility, we will not be able to get past here without being detected. So we just make sure we have that up, so we don't get absolutely demolished by these guys. So we're gonna go up here, and our Mind Flare friend says, "Hey, look, we need to eat this guy. We need to assimilate him so that we can wield a whole bunch of stones." We're gonna say, "Okay, cool. Make me Mind Flare so I can do that." So we turn into a Mind Flare, and now we are a Mind Flare for the rest of the run. And now we're going to repay him by punching with a spear. He says, "Do not talk to me again. We are done." And he gets super mad at us. And the reason we do that is because that dismisses him for the rest of the run, so we don't have to deal with pathing a whole bunch of characters at once. Now Jaheira's gone. The reason Jaheira is gone is because, same thing, we just don't want to path a whole bunch of characters at once. And now we're going to pretty much fly our character up to the final fight of the game. Withers shows up and says, "Hey, you have no friends." Which I say, "Yeah, I know, man. Didn't have to remind me." Because we did absolutely no recruiting throughout the entire run, so he's like, "Dude, seriously, what happened?" Up here, we're going to take the safe route through because this is GDQ. And we are going to fly our way through here, invisible through all these cutscenes. There is a more dangerous route I can take on the right side of this area, but that area has enemies that can see invisibility, so I personally prefer to just gun it through here instead. So up here is going to be the brainstem that leads up to the final boss, and we can just warp our way up to the final boss by nudging against the stem. We're going to cast Misty Step up here, and it's going to teleport us straight up. So now that we're up here, we are going to walk up to the stem, cast invisibility on ourselves one more time, and interact with the stem since we are now prepared to do the final fight. Emperor is super mad at us still, by the way, so he does a whole bunch of taunts. We're just like, "Dude, I barely know you." So now we're here, but we're invisible. We are not in combat. It's the final fight, and we are allowed to just go through here. And the objective of this fight is to use this item onto this crown so that you can dominate the brain. And by stacking the alert feat with being invisible and going first in combat, we can do that in one turn, such that we don't have to. We don't really have to do any of the actual combat. So remember how we went shopping for fireworks earlier? Well, here is where we are going to use them. We're going to set the difficulty to Explorer, and we are going to toss these down at the brain such that they explode.
So you're gonna have an issue there.
This should be fine. This is just a time loss, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's a little time loss. So normally you can do that in one turn. I got a issue where my Mind Sanctuary got depleted, which normally allows us to use both of our actions as bonus actions and actions interchangeably. In my case, it didn't work for whatever reason.
If you're on patch 4, I think it's because you switched difficulty way too late.
All right, so now...
But yeah, it works.
Oh.
Happy New Year.
So Happy New Year,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And we're going to take the evil ending. We are going to seize the moment. We're going to skip the cutscene and time.
God dang. What a run. That was really cool.
So that's everything. Little bit rough on the RNG, but it's to be expected because it's GDQ. Classic to be expected. I want to thank, now that we're here at the end, I want to thank my commentators, you and Chronos, for helping me out through some of the more intense parts of that run. I want to thank Mr. Ogam, who is the most insane person anyone has ever met. He did a significant amount of glitch hunting and routing for this game. And everyone over at the CRPG Speedrunning Discord server for all of the incredible work that they've put into this run. It really is a community effort. This was really not done by any single person. It is really an achievement of this community that we've been able to get this run down so far, when it started at being something like, I think it was like a 6-hour run when we first started. So that's it for me. Thank you all so much for coming along. Peace.
Yeah. Also, if you do want to see more Baldur's Gate 3 speedruns, it will be at GDQ as well, so May will be running there.
I'll be at AGDQ 2024. You can see me on January 20th is the day I'll be running. So I hope to see you all there too.
I'll just add one thing, is that it's going to be pretty different from what you just saw here, get ready for a lot more surprises.
I won't spoil it, but we have some spicy routing changes coming up. You'll see.
I love that. I love that a lot, honestly. That's really cool.
All right, that's it.
But yeah, I want to put in perspective just how ridiculous the fact that you beat this game in half an hour is. I looked up howlongtobeat.com for this game. The page there says about 60 hours for this, for beating the game, and you did this in half an hour. That's ridiculous to me. I love that. That's so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, anything to plug before we head off to the next run?
I have a YouTube channel. May is my YouTube channel. If you just look up May Baldur's Gate 3, you'll probably find me. I do 90% runs, I do all hacks runs, and I do another run that shall not be named, that I hold the world record category for. That's pretty much all my plugs. And the CRPG speedrunning Discord server. If you really like this run, you can look up on speedrun.com for Baldur's Gate 3. We have the CRPG speedrunning Discord server. Everyone there is super, super nice. We are happy to help anyone get started in this run or answer any questions anyone has about the run. Everyone there rocks. And that's it. That's it for my plugs.
Sounds good to me. Would the Chronicles also have to plug themselves too?
I mean, sure, but like,
might as well, you know?
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, you can check me out as well on YouTube if you search Chronos for Baldur's Gate speedruns. Also on Twitch. And yeah, lots of really cool speedruns that everyone does in the community. So yeah, really cool.
And yeah, for me, I guess you can just check my Twitch channel, so Gyoo_, and I'll be back to grinding fairly soon, like in the next week. So if you want to check this out, go for it.
Absolutely. Then in that case, yeah, we have another after this for my show tonight. Today it's like 2 p.m. for me, but yeah. We have another run after this, so stick around for that. Should be Link to the Past 100%. So, Game of the Year this year's point was Baldur's Gate 3. Maybe Game of the Year 1991 was Link to the Past. Who knows? But it's another banger right there, to say the least. Should be awesome. So stick around for that. So we'll be back in just a minute, everybody. We'll get that set up.